If you guys don't want to allow mentally unstable, psychotic people to come to our retreats, if you don't think the spiritual space that we are cultivating can hold that and can ground that and can support that, not instead of allopathic or psychiatric treatment, but alongside, as far as possible, allopathic and psychiatric treatment, then notice, if that's what you think, most of you would not be allowed at retreats. Jwalamukhi, you interrupted my exorcism. I was there, I had it under control. She was hanging from a tree, she was screaming, I was chanting the Chandi. She was starting to calm down. She was screaming and screaming and screaming, which by the way, she started to do after you started screaming at her at the restaurant. If you didn't have the bandwidth that day, dear, and I know you didn't because you've been up for so many nights, but if you didn't have the bandwidth to sit next to that lady for that dinner, and if you would rather, like Mahadeva, be conversing with me, you can communicate that to me. You can just say, I don't have the bandwidth to take care of her. You tried your best. You were with her in a way that was really helpful to the rest of us. You had her next to you almost all day, every day, and you were really a mother to that girl, and that means the world to me because she's my child. She's one of my own. I've been with her 2 or 3 weeks prior to you ever having met her, prior to any of you having met her. And for 2 or 3 weeks, I did everything in my ability to ensure that she took psychiatric medication. I talked her out of seeing psychiatric medication as being mutually exclusive with her spiritual work. The spiritual insight and her feeling of aliveness and her feeling of spiritual connectivity, she felt like those things were threatened by the antipsychotic especially. I told her to keep taking the antipsychotics, I told her to keep taking the SSRIs. I even started taking her antipsychotics and SSRIs with her, by the way, to prove to her that they won't harm spirituality, that spirituality is something deeper than the body and even the mind, and whatever our medical conditions are, they can be just supporting. And she was, by the way, we have conversations with her that I've recorded where you can hear this. So I have proof that I told her to stay on her medication. We have proof that I warned her that drugs and spiritual practices, especially spiritual practices around Kali, can be, unlike other spiritual practices, exacerbating. I have all of this on record. Now the point here is that we decided as a community that we would be a space for people who had no other spaces. The psychiatric world is helpful, but she came to me because she was looking for something else. She knocked on my door because she wanted to try and she wanted to hope that there was something other than being pinned down and being injected by things that she didn't consent to. She wanted something other than being locked up far from her home and being treated like a wild animal. She didn't want to be back in Sacramento because as loving as her family is, as supportive as they are, they have their own issues. And she's a young woman who's looking to make her way in the world, and she wants to live in LA and write poetry and live an artistic life. So she knocked on my door hoping that I would be able to give her, at least for a time, some grounding in that new direction. And by God, the sleepless nights for 2 weeks prior to coming to Portland, I gave it everything I had. And then I realized I couldn't do it alone. I realized that maybe I need to look to my community and see if they too could support her in the way that I wanted to. This woman who would find no other support anywhere else because of the kind of person that she was. She's hard to love. She's absolutely insufferable. But if there's anybody that could love her, I would think that it would be Shaivas. It would be the saints that I think I surround myself with. So I brought her to the retreat and I asked if that would be okay, and you said that it would. When I brought her and she started exhibiting mania and started going into an episode, that was new. She hadn't done it to that degree at any other time in my time of knowing her. So then I checked in with everyone, and I checked in with her. I spent hours with her talking about why she should stay on a medication. She told me to my face that she was on a medication, and if she herself chose to get off of it, I did tell her that I would support her in any way, shape, or form I could, and I felt like you would too. So that night when we decided that she wasn't going to go to Seattle, I had a moral crisis. I was thinking about it, and then I realized that my commitment is not to you, Jwalamukhi. It's not to Sarada Devi. My commitment is not to any of you. My commitment is to that young woman who showed up at my door looking for hope, looking for something different. And if it meant that I couldn't go to Seattle and instead I would go back to LA with Rama, I would. That's what I made clear. I said, I'm going to set a boundary. If Rama is not welcome in Seattle, if Jwalamukhi does not want to take on that liability as the host of the retreat, if Sara that doesn't want to take on that liability in her house, all of that's perfectly understandable to me. I just wanted to be made clear that I would not be in attendance. I cannot choose to go with all of you and do Homa and do Puja and talk about spiritual ideas, especially ideas around Kali and Shiva, the paragons of inclusivity, the paragons of holding space for scorpions, spiders, snakes, Dakinis, Yoginis, and ghosts. I cannot do that in good faith if I didn't live those principles. And what it meant to me in that moment to live those principles is to go back to LA with Rama, who you were all, right to say, was not welcome in Jwalamukhi's house or Sarada's house. And she was, by the way, until she wasn't. She was an invited guest until she wasn't. Many of my ganas here were invited until they weren't. You've gone back on a lot of the things that you enthusiastically supported when I presented them to you. So I gathered my ganas around. I excluded Jwalamukhi from that conversation because she was the host of the retreat. I excluded Sarada from that conversation because she was the host of the next retreat. I included Mahadeva because he's one of my own in a way that's deeper than I care to explain right now. But I had them all together and I said to them, you don't have to follow me into this. I know that this is a very unstable and dangerous situation. It'll probably be better if I go back to LA. It's a dangerous and unstable situation and a liability for me in LA. I'm happy to take on that liability. I'm happy to be stabbed in the middle of the night. I'm happy to be physically abused and attacked. I'm happy to do what I need to do to take care of this girl. But not you guys. You don't have to come into this. You don't have to be inconvenienced. You don't have to go on some long manhunt all day and like all night and stay on the ground in the park in the cold night after night after night. By the way, if you're going to say it's important that we stay in the park and that we wait for Rama to come back, I expect that you're also staying in the park waiting for Rama to come back like you did the night before. But no, we go to our friend's house and have a bunch of kids stay in the park because apparently if they don't, you'll slash their tires. Girl, listen, if we have standards that crazy people are not allowed to come to our retreats, Jwalamukhi, you can't come to any of our retreats. Rakteshwari, you can't come to any of our retreats. You guys are psychotic as fuck. I heard Jwalamukhi issue threats. I heard her say, you haven't seen the real Jwalamukhi yet. I heard her threaten Nicola by saying she will slash her tires. Rakteshwari, come on, look at yourself. You're crazy as fuck, and I love you for it. Most of you in this chat have deep, problematic psychological issues. That's why no other spiritual space will probably have you. That's why you're here, because I'm motherfucking Shiva, and this is an environment of scorpions, snakes, spiders, outcasts, yoginis, dakinis, bhutas, and ganas. And if it is not that, then I am not going to be a part of that. I will be on the streets, I will be under the trees, and I will be with those who understand our values. And I just wanted to make sure that you did. So I took you all aside, we sat on the couch, in the liminal hours of the night, we talked about it, and I asked whether or not you'd be okay taking on the liability. Just the immediate community. They said yes, we'll follow you into battle. And I said, well, let's check in with Sarada. If she says no, if she doesn't let us come to Seattle, then we'll all just go back to LA. I told you this means we might have to spend some nights out, sadhuing around, and that could be good for us. We all decided to do that. So when we drove, it wasn't like Nicola was like, okay, I'm going to bring Rama secretly and smuggled her into the car, and then we suddenly showed up at Sarada's place with Rama, and then Sarada's like, oh my god, who is this? No, Mahadeva communicated to Sarada that we were bringing somebody who could be a liability. I sat with Sarada privately in her altar and also in the room where she had a guitar. I sat with Sarada and I told her that we have somebody who could be a liability. I explained it using the spiritual models that we all consented into until we didn't, right? And I told her that, like, importantly, we should take the psychiatric thing seriously too. I told Sarada what a psychiatric condition was, what medication she was taking, what I thought was going on spiritually, all of that. And Sarada was like, yeah, it isn't a problem until it is. Then when it became a problem, we tried our best. We did everything we could to help that girl with what we had. When it became a problem, then Sarada was well within her rights to say, yeah, I think I'm going to opt out. She opted in until she chose to opt out. Jwalamukhi opted in until she chose to opt out. A lot of you are not opting out. A lot of the people that are around me now are still opting in. People, by the way, who are on the street all day flyering. People who are up all night while some people are sleeping in their friends' houses. People who are up all night, staying up, not sleeping, but staying up all night to make sure that when Rama came back, we would be there for her. People who were on their phones, contacting her friends in Sacramento, people who were interfacing with her family. Jwalamukhi, I would like to say that you led the charge, but you didn't. You just freaked out. You abandoned all of your spiritual tools. You threw all of the ideas that you've been taught out the window. And you threatened people around me by screaming at them, by cussing at them, by shouting at them. I understand that Rakteshwari and Jwalamukhi, both of you are mothers, but right now, you are hysterical mothers. Rakteshwari, you have no idea what happened. You weren't there. Stay out of this. Jayarata is making some very important and serious claims, and I want to take them seriously. Bhairavananda has many serious and important things to say. Everyone in the community should have a voice here. But right now, it's two hysterical mothers whose desire to protect has caused us to feel like this is a person more vulnerable than she is. She's a smart, strong individual who goes from place to place and is just looking for something different than what the world has already offered her, and we tried to give that to her, and we made some mistakes. Should I have not brought her to the retreat? Absolutely fucking hell no. If she was not welcome to the retreat, I would have been staying in LA with her. When I brought her, if Jwalamukhi were not comfortable with her and you told me that you were not, and by the way, it seemed like you were about to live up to this ideal, which you've now, I think, fallen short of. If you live up to the ideal, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I think we have a shot here. I really felt like we had a shot. And what we did in Portland, I think very meaningfully helped this girl in a very deep way. Not that we're trying to help anybody, we're just holding space and allowing everyone who was made to feel unwelcome everywhere else feel welcome. That's it. We didn't think we were gonna cure her psychological illness. We all read Swamiji, we help ourselves, not the world. Nobody here was under any illusion that our spiritual tools would cure her illness. We were not performing an exorcism to get rid of the very yoginis that we in our tradition respect, revere, and worship. We were worshipping her. We were worshipping her by grounding her, by including her, and by not excommunicating her when we had every reason to do so. Jwalamukhi, nobly and commendably, you did that in Portland. You absolutely did that. You kept her safe when she was a danger to herself. We loved her when no one else would, when she couldn't love herself. We were calm when she was violent and mean. That was wonderful. Who does that? Nobody wants to deal with that. Everybody thinks of legal liability. What if I go to jail? What if someone gets hurt on my watch? Well, someone, listen, will get hurt on my watch. Do you know why? Someone will put me in a serious state of legal liability. Do you know why? Because unlike everyone else in the world who wants to protect their ass when it comes to matters of legal liability, unlike anybody else in any other institution in the world who wants to keep things convenient and safe and predictable and appropriate, I don't. I'm sorry, but I do not want to fucking build an institution or an organization like all these others around us that just don't have room for a crazy person. The only institutions that seem to have room for such people are institutions that these people themselves reject. Do you understand? If they themselves chose to go there, and I have always argued that they should, and they should take their prescribed medications, that's a different story. But she came to us. She came to us, and in Portland, we delivered. In Seattle, we delivered. And when we got to the end of our puja, and we finished it, by the way, we got to the end of our puja. How wonderful. We did our best. We worked together, and it was nothing like it. The most inspiring thing I've ever seen. I didn't expect that of any of you, but I was humbled. I was so humbled that you were willing to go there with me. Because I didn't want anybody to go there with me. It's a scary world that I live in. A world of legal liability, a world of inconvenience, a world of sleepless nights, a world of terror, a world of violence. I'm slapped and stabbed and shouted at and cussed out. But it's a world that I live in because I believe in the values that I believe in. It's the smashan. And let's make no mistake, you all consented to come to the smashan, and the moment you realized that it was a legal liability, that it was inconvenient, that it was scary, that people get hurt here, you just abandoned your Shaivism. You abandoned your spiritual tools, and you started cussing each other out. By the way, you guys sound like 15-year-olds. Like some of you said, maybe I should change your name to Bhairava, not Bhairavi. What, is this a playground? A high school that you should be like taking jabs at each other's like sexuality and gender? You guys, if we had a standard that crazy people are not allowed to come to our retreats, Rakteshwari, you will not come to our retreat. Jwalamukhi, you will not come to our retreat. Fuck, most of you would not come to our retreat. I am not a person that will allow sane, grounded, stable people to retreats because I am not a sane, grounded, stable person. If you want someone who is sane, grounded, stable, responsible, go to the Vedanta Society. Go and get a stable, grounded Swami in orange robes to give you a mantra. Stop calling me your guru if what kind of guru you want is daddy. I am not your motherfucking dad. I am not anybody's dad. I am a madman. And you've all known this. And it's all been so cute and so fun. And you've all enjoyed it until it came down to actually fighting for the values that I'm going to continue to give my life for. All of you leave. Walk out right now. I don't need your houses. I don't need your support. If this is what your support looks like. When she chose to run off into the night, I was on it. I was on it in ways that you can't even understand. And because you couldn't understand, when I was working, when she was on the tree and she was calming down and we were chanting and we got to the point where she was starting to cry and she was starting to sing along, you, Jwalamukhi, stormed into my ritual space because you refused to sleep on the wet earth. I'm sorry, if you cannot sadhu it up for one night, then don't. Stay out of the smashan. You walked in, you interrupted my ritual, and out of love for you, I was like, it's gonna be okay. Let me just move to this other place, a place where I didn't have a binding on a tree that I spent 1 hour doing, a place where I didn't create a circle that could hold her, a space that we had to create a circle that would exclude her. I'm sorry, Jwalamukhi, but that was your fault. I wasn't going to punish you for it because you couldn't even understand in your level of spiritual immaturity what that did, ritually speaking, energetic speaking. I didn't fail, girl. I was interrupted. I had a botched operation because I had an unprofessional person who couldn't understand what was happening and who couldn't respect my authority, who felt like she was protective and doing the right thing. I don't blame you for that. Storm in and botch my operation. I should have just Guru Vaked you at that moment and been like, Jwalamukhi, go back to your car. Sleep in your car. Jwalamukhi, take some other people with you and go and sleep at the other tree if you want to. Which, by the way, wasn't that much considerably drier. It was full of piss. and it was out near the street. I don't know, it was darker. I don't know why you guys wanted to move, but we moved. We moved, and you were in a fragile state, and I think on some level you understand that your state was part of the reason why she was in that state, and that state was exacerbated. When you found us in my little patch of trees, she was not like that. She was calm. I was about to put her next to me, and right now both of us would be going back to LA, and I would still have this girl with me, the way that she chose to be. But no, now I've lost her. I've lost her because you couldn't keep still. I lost her because you're all flying off the handle. I lost her because you've given up on japa, on prayer. I don't think, and the only time you mention the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is to make some convenient point against somebody. This is very important to me, you guys. I'm here for Sarada, for Ramakrishna, for Vivekananda. I'm here for our Shaiva values of inclusion. When she ran away, it was inconvenient. It was problematic. We got her back. That's very important. You didn't get her back, Jwalamukhi. Your work, your help was instrumental. Jayarata suggesting the media channels, all of that was instrumental. For you to suggest that we absconded is unfair. You didn't see these people staying up all night. You didn't sleep in the grass. You weren't up all night in the cold. You didn't see these people on the train stations going this way and that way. Yes, you printed out the flyers. Yes, we did what we could to follow your lead. But we had our own things. We were doing our own things. And by God, they worked. Literally, by God, they worked. And if you don't believe that, that's on you. My conscience is clear. My relationship to her is my relationship to her, and much deeper than any of yours. My relationship to all of you is deeper. But I need you guys to know now, if you want a different standard of responsibility from me, if you want me to stop bringing psychotic people to retreats, I won't. I'm going to keep bringing psychotic people to your houses. And if you invite me to your house, you are inviting the Smashan. Don't put Kali on your altar if you didn't expect Kali to come to your house. Worship Kuan Yin instead. Don't have all this goth emo things if you're scared of darkness. Are you scared of insanity? Are you scared of insanity? Well, you haven't seen the real bite of a Nishanth yet. You said, I haven't seen the real Jwalamukhi yet. Well, how about this? You haven't seen the real bite of a Nishanth yet. You want to see what he's like? He's like this. He's like this. He doesn't care. He's calm. He doesn't worry about anything. Because what are you all to me? How much are you paying me for this retreat? I'm financially ruined because of this retreat. I don't need your kitchery. I don't need the little bit of food that you take 5 hours to make. Like, I'm never gonna ever need anything from any of you. I'm offering something. And you're all here at my table. I don't have a table. I live in the Smashan. You're all here in my cremation ground. Taking. And I am giving. And by God, I have so much more to give. But if you want to sit here and tell me how I should be giving, what standards I should have, then go start your own community. Have your own protocols of mental health and safety. Go start your own community with your own standards of who can come in and who cannot come in. My standard is this: everyone is welcome in, including those people who shout and scream and shriek and fight and bite and beat and heat and God knows what else. I'm ready to meet them. I'm ready to meet them in the open field and sit with them. And if all of you choose to sit with me, you're all welcome. And those of you who cannot handle the chimp, get out of the circus. Cannot handle the clown, if you can't handle the chimp, get out of the zoo. If you can't handle the clown, get out of the circus. And if you can't handle the heat, stop ordering Indian food. Go worship Kuan Yin. This is Shaivism. This is the Smashan. I don't have time for fools. Jana. Okay, but I hope on a lighter note, I do love you, Rakteshwari. I do love you, Jwalamukhi. And both of you are being absolutely psychotic right now. And remember, that's okay. That's okay. If you're being intolerable and insufferable and just like saying mean things, and everyone who says mean things thinks they're right to do so, right? And they are. Even if what they're saying is totally batshit insane, it's like, we are actually okay with that. Like, we all just love insane people. And I hope you're all taking your medication. Jwalamukhi, Rakteshwari, I hope you're taking your medication. I hope everyone is taking their medication. I hope you're all getting the psychiatric help you need. I hope you're all adults who can make choices. I don't think any children should be in our space. And anyone who's above the age of 21, 18, I think really 21, should be treated as an adult who is allowed to make their own choices. And we as a community should support them to the best of our ability, up to the point where we take away their choice. I don't think we have the right to, as a community, say, this is for your own good and put someone in a straitjacket. No, choice is the most important value to us. Supporting one another is also an important value to us. And God is real. God is real, and He works through action. Surely. And by God, we did everything we could. So I'm not actually trying to scare away Jwalamukhi and Rakteshwari. You guys are being scary, but nobody's scared of you. Nobody's engaging with you because you're just throwing a fit like Ruby threw a fit, like everyone throws a fit. And you know what? We're fit to handle these fits. So like chill, like you guys can just continue fighting, you can continue screaming, you can continue like stabbing me, fighting me. I mean, you know, this girl, when she was in my house, it was people have slapped me and stabbed me physically, and they've done that psychologically. I will always handle it. We'll always handle it because that's what it means to be a family and love one another when we're with people who are very hard to love. Jalamukhi, right now you're very hard to love. In almost every other instance, you're easy to love. Rakteshwari, you're hard to love. You just texted me on Instagram. You're like, I hope you don't think I'm bashing you. Girl, you are bashing me. You're betraying me on so many levels and being mean to me on so many levels about things you don't even know about. I'm not offended though, you know. Your behavior is absolutely unacceptable, Rakteshwari. And so too is yours, Jalamukhi. You're like really harshing the vibe right now. And the way you're treating Tarama is just not okay. Leave Tara alone. Tara, chill. Don't get in there. Like, when there's a rampaging elephant, don't stand in front of it. Step aside. You know, and now I'm going to stand in front of it. I'm going to say stop. And if you don't stop, it's okay. You can still be in this house. Nobody gets kicked out here. Nobody gets kicked out. But you know what does happen? Nobody gets kicked out, but they do excuse themselves. They get to a point where they realize you're dealing with something very different, that I'm not going to be bullied in the way they think they can bully me or control me, however lovingly. You can't tempt me, you can't threaten me, you can't scare me. And I think that's maybe a little scary to you. You know what's maybe even scarier? My unconditional love and forgiveness. It's okay, you guys are fine. Just continue fighting, say what you need to say. Rama is safe to whatever extent she is. But I've lost her, you know, in one way, shape or form. She's no longer here with me, and I think she would have been if you had trusted me more. And it's okay that you didn't, but you must admit that now. If you no longer trust me, I hereby relieve you of, leave. Like, everyone's free to come, everyone's free to go. You can keep your name, you can keep your mantra, you can keep all the spiritual tools that you've learned. And like you said, Ma, beautifully at that time when we were partying, I will always forever cherish our time together. I'll cherish everything you've taught me, and I really value being in your household and being in Sarada Devi's household. It was a really beautiful time. Even when it was dark and scary, it was a beautiful time. And the resolution was beautiful. Anyway, I love you guys. I love you guys, and you're always welcome, okay? You're always welcome in my house. You're always welcome in my heart. Jaima. I'm scolding you, but I love you. I'm scolding you and I'm telling you to stop. But you won't, and I'm not expecting you to. And you can continue, and you can still be here. Is that clear? Like, is the love and compassion okay? Okay, cool. Ajahn.